I have listened to many voices throughout my life. Some spoke endlessly, yet said nothing. Others spoke briefly, and their words remained long after they were silent. Wisdom is not proven by the amount one speaks, but by the weight of what is said. The wise understand something, the careless never learn. Words cannot be taken back. Once released, they move freely, shaping thoughts, stirring emotions, and creating consequences. I observed that fools rush to speak. They fear silence. They mistake noise for presence. They believe speaking proves importance. The wise do not share this fear. Silence does not threaten them. It strengthens them. For silence gathers understanding. A man who speaks constantly reveals his thoughts before they are refined. A man who listens first discovers what truly matters. I learned that speech is a tool, not an impulse. Used carefully, it builds trust, settles conflict, and guides others. Used carelessly, it destroys reputation, spreads confusion, and exposes weakness. The wise speak little because they listen much. They observe patterns, they weigh intentions, they discern timing. Not every truth must be spoken. Not every thought deserves a voice. Wisdom knows when silence protects more than speech. I have seen arguments escalate, not because truth was absent, but because restraint was. Many wounds are made by words spoken too quickly, too proudly, too often. The wise understand that restraint is strength. To remain silent when ego demands speech is mastery of the self. This mastery is rare. That is why wisdom is rare. I learned to pause before speaking. In that pause, emotion settles, clarity rises, and intention becomes visible. A quick tongue is often guided by impulse. A measured tongue is guided by understanding. The wise speak little because they value accuracy over volume. They choose words as one chooses tools, carefully, purposefully, and only when needed. I noticed something else. Those who speak constantly often seek control. Those who speak wisely seek order. Control demands reaction. Order requires patience. The wise do not need to dominate conversation. Their presence alone invites attention because their words are rare. Scarcity gives value. When speech is constant, it becomes background noise. When speech is rare, it commands focus. I saw counselors whose advice was ignored because they spoke too much. I saw others whose single sentence redirected an entire decision. It was not authority that gave weight to their words. It was restraint. The wise understand timing. A word spoken too early is often wasted. A word spoken too late is often useless. Wisdom speaks when the moment is ready. Silence prepares that moment. I will tell you a truth few accept. Many speak not to be understood, but to be seen. The wise are content to be unseen, so long as truth remains clear. They do not chase attention. They attract respect. A quiet mind produces clear speech. A noisy mind produces careless words. I guarded my speech because I guarded my judgment. I knew that a king's words carry weight beyond intention. Once spoken, they become law, expectation, or offense. Therefore, I learned to speak only what I was willing to stand behind. The wise speak little because they understand consequence. Every word leaves a mark. Some marks fade quickly, others shape destinies. Silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is the space where wisdom forms. I tell you this plainly. If you wish to grow wise, learn to listen. If you wish to be respected, learn to pause. If you wish to speak with power, learn to speak less. For the wise do not rush their words. They let understanding arrive first, and when they speak, their words do not need volume. They carry truth. I learned that words reveal more than they intend. A man speaks, and his heart is exposed. His fears appear. His pride surfaces. His impatience is heard. This is why the wise are cautious. They understand that speech is a window into the soul. To speak less is to protect what is within. I observed men who spoke to fill emptiness. Their voices were constant, but their understanding was shallow. They feared being forgotten. They feared being ignored. The wise fear something else. They fear speaking falsely. They fear misleading others. They fear betraying truth. Silence guards integrity. A man who speaks rarely chooses honesty carefully. I noticed that wisdom grows in quiet places, in reflection, in listening, in restraint. Noise interrupts this growth. A restless tongue belongs to a restless mind, and a restless mind cannot perceive depth. The wise cultivate stillness. From stillness, clarity is born. I learned to listen even when I was expected to speak. Often, the answer revealed itself before a word was needed. Many conflicts end when one person refuses to add more words. Silence disarms anger. It removes fuel from unnecessary fire. The wise do not argue to prove intelligence. They speak to restore order. And if order cannot be restored, they remain silent and allow truth to surface on its own. Time exposes error without assistance. Words spoken in haste often defend what time will condemn. I learned that authority is weakened by excess speech. A ruler who explains everything loses mystery. A ruler who speaks sparingly maintains respect, not because he is distant, but because his words matter. The wise understand proportion. They know that too many words reduce importance. Like gold scattered carelessly, speech loses value when it is abundant. Measured speech retains weight. I observed teachers who lectured endlessly. Their students remembered little. I observed teachers who spoke briefly, then waited. Their words stayed. Silence gives room for truth to settle. A lesson spoken without pause passes quickly. A lesson surrounded by silence takes root. I also learned that listening teaches humility. It reminds a man that he does not know everything. The wise accept this gladly. The foolish resist it loudly. Silence is an admission. I am still learning. This admission is strength, not weakness. I guarded my tongue because I guarded my legacy. Words outlive the speaker. They are remembered, repeated, and sometimes distorted. The wise consider how their words will sound when they are no longer present to explain them. This is foresight. Speech without foresight creates confusion for generations. I also observed that the wise do not rush to answer. They allow questions to refine themselves. Many questions collapse under silence. They reveal their own weakness when not immediately answered. Wisdom waits until the right question remains. Then it responds clearly. The wise speak little because they understand that not all ears are ready. Truth spoken too early is often rejected. Silence prepares the listener as much as the speaker. I will say this plainly. A man who controls his tongue controls much of his life. Words shape relationships. Words shape trust. Words shape destiny. The tongue is small, yet its influence is vast. To master it is to master oneself. That is why the wise speak little, not because they lack thoughts, but because they respect them. Not because they fear speaking, but because they understand its power. Let your words be few, but true. Let your silence be full, not empty. Speak when your words bring clarity. Remain silent when they would bring noise. In this balance, wisdom is preserved. And in this restraint, true authority is found. I have spoken enough. Let silence now complete the lesson. There is one more reason the wise speak little. They understand that words create obligation. Once spoken, they must be upheld. A careless promise becomes a future burden. A careless opinion becomes a future contradiction. The wise avoid this trap. They do not speak until they are prepared to stand by what is said. I observed many who spoke boldly in moments of emotion. Later, they spent years explaining, defending, or regretting a single sentence. Silence would have spared them. The wise also know that listening reveals more than speaking ever could. When a man speaks, he controls the words. When he listens, he receives truth. The quiet observer learns the motives of others. The talkative reveal themselves before they are understood. This knowledge protects the wise. It allows them to act with precision, not assumption. I learned that silence creates authority without effort. People lean in. They pay attention. They wait. Words spoken into silence land deeper. Words spoken into noise disappear. This is why the wise do not compete for attention. They allow attention to come to them. I will leave you with this final truth. You do not need many words to live wisely. You need clear ones, and clarity is born in stillness. Guard your tongue. Let silence refine your thoughts, and when you speak, let your words be few, measured, and true, for wisdom is not loud, it is lasting.